Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Innovation Talk Let's Exchange series. I am Caroline Denous, a Global IoT Marketing Manager here at Schneider Electric. So today's topic should be in everyone's priority list. I'm talking about cybersecurity. Can you imagine anything more sobering than returning from work after a long day and seeing your front door broken into? Today, it's estimated that there is a burglary every 13 seconds. So with the advent of connecting things, our lives are almost entirely dependent on hackable technologies, from phones, computers, cards, bank and credit card purchases. Even our smart home devices and alarm system can be hacked into. In fact, it's estimated a hacker attack takes place worldwide every 39 seconds. So today we'll cover how you can be locking your doors and securing your perimeter from your industry network to your people, your assets, and your data. So keep in mind that it is not only about protecting yourself, the whole ecosystem has to collaborate to raise the bar of your collective cyber defense. So improving how global industry prevents and responds to cyber attacks, it requires an open, transparent, and collaborative effort. So now let's talk about how collaboration will be key to success. And for this, let me welcome our expert, our speaker of today. I have with me Schneider Electric Digital Security SVP and Global Chief Information Security Officers, Christophe Blassiot, Enic Media Security Chief Scientist Officer, Gérard Vidal, and Sally Eves, who is the CEO of Aspirational Future, Vortex, and a recognized author. So you can use the chat along the session to ask us your question. Our experts will be there to answer them, and we will be taking some of them orally at the end. All right, I think it's time to move to the first question. Christophe, the growing digitization of our world is increasing our vulnerability to cyber threats. So in your perspective, where is the industry standing today? Why is this critical for companies to have an integrated cybersecurity approach in their digital strategy?
Thanks, Caroline. Hello, very happy to be here. I'm Christophe Blassiot. I'm the global CISO of Schneider Electric. Schneider Electric is leading the global digital transformation of energy management and industrial automation. And here we see ourselves as a technology provider at the convergence of energy, automation, and software. As I reflect on your question, Caroline, we all know that cyber landscape is moving every day. On one end, we have geopolitical tension, economic events, and adversaries like cyber states and nation states have unlimited time, resources, funding to carry out cyber attack, primarily with critical infrastructure. On the other hand, cyber attack tools and techniques, some augmented by AI, are available to anyone via the dark web. Opportunistic hackers with various motives, money, revenge, and notoriety, are using weaknesses in our digital ecosystem. So, to your question, when I think about our biggest vulnerability, I think the biggest one is the one that we don't know. And as a CISO, this lack of visibility is really an obsession. Thus, anyone could be a target or be used as a proxy for cyber attacks. So it could jeopardize not only business and operation, but also the safety of our people and the environment we are asked to protect. So we have few examples in mind, like electrical grid attacks in the Ukraine, WannaCry, NotPetya, just to name the known ones. So why this is important to embed cyber in the digital security strategy, in digital strategy. As we transform our companies digitally, we embark more capabilities through advanced technologies. We are more connected, and surface attack widens, increasing our exposure to cyber risk. So that's why it's imperative that cyber is seen as an integral part of digital transformation strategy, adopting a risk-based approach. And at Schneider, we drive our cybersecurity strategic initiative, leveraging a cyber risk register with potential attack scenarios and analyzed through a key chain approach. We work on the following risk types: damage to customer assets, resulting in safety and operational repercussion; business and operational disruption impacting continuity; compliance with ever more stringent or complex and regional cyber or privacy regulation. Last but not least, loss of intellectual property. As this is not just a technology issue, but a business issue, those risks are placed at the right level of a company in terms of accountability, up to the executive committee, in the right function and business of a company. We also make sure that cyber risk is a conversation that we have with our customer, with our partners, with our suppliers, and with our employees to raise their awareness and reinforce the culture. On top of that, with our board of directors, we prioritize the needed mitigation action and associated strategic initiative as part of our digital strategy. So 3 things to keep in mind along the cyber risk approach: prioritize investment to the appropriate cyber initiative, focus on what is business critical, as there is no sense to try to protect everything at the same level, and challenge the posture with internal and external metrics like cyber scoring platform, assessment, review, to drive the culture change across the company.
Thank you so much, Christophe. So in today's world, no one innovates alone. So Sally with a massive ecosystem, both thriving with complementary expertise, but also nefarious actors. In your experience, how can we secure the end-to-end chain and ensure digital trust?
Thank you, Caroline. A real pleasure to be here. So as per your introduction, I'm Professor Sally Eaves. I'm from Forbes Tech. I'm CEO of Aspirational Futures and also write and speak around emergent technology, education and impact, which is my kind of collective passion. And I think really your question comes to one central point, that of trust. There's been recent benchmark research by endtoend, and I really trust that. It's been there for 17 years. It's something to really compare year on year. And that's showing we're at a 17 global year low. And it doesn't matter if we're talking about charity or social enterprise or financial services. It's affecting every industry. So it's the heart of what we do. And tech has to really embed trust back into the system. And we've been looking from Christophe's comments there very much around vulnerability. You know, we've got connectivity, which is an amazing thing. It brings real opportunity, but we have to be aware that also creates vulnerabilities too. So we have to secure that, and we have to do that end to end. There's been quite a lot of recent research, and again, the statistics kind of even out at 70% of organizations and CEOs and CTOs are really focusing on the attack risk. And we've got to move away from that awareness to actually ways to implement solutions, and importantly, to do that end to end. And again, education has a massive part to play in this, building that awareness. One thing for me, I think is a key point, is the exposure of third parties, even fourth parties in our systems. We need to address that. Again, a new research study has put the statistic at 59% of organizations in their IT infrastructure have experienced a third-party data breach in 2019 alone. So it's quite an illuminating statistic, I think, that. And again, it's about being aware, bringing that to everybody's attention, building that collective responsibility and putting everything in place from a technology point of view and a cultural one, again, as Christophe elucidated, that we can really make this change happen. So it's holistic. We have to be holistic with what we do. And I think actually the experience we've got at the moment, I think, is a good example. Because of global factors, global health issues, more and more people are working from home, sometimes for the very first time. And in that process, unless we have things like, real readiness practice, impact assessments, things like security and privacy, people can try to work around it. We've all seen examples of that. I think the classic one potentially is, when you go into the office and there's a swipe card and sometimes people let somebody else in. We've all done things like that over a period of time. And sometimes, particularly when people are under pressure, convenient workarounds, even things like USBs, can actually propose a real security threat. So that awareness, building that in, really practicing around this is absolutely vital. So yes, we need to secure our OT environment, and it requires 3 things. So I call those the 3 Ps: proactiveness, planning and preparation. That's what we need to do. If we bring those together, we can really make a difference. And for me, it's all about a human and tech partnership. It's not one or the other. It has to be holistic. It has to be the integration of these factors together. That's how we make the difference and make that really work. And from the human factors, we can look at culture, building this shared responsibility. Everybody in the organization does have the role to play. It's not just a specific role or title. This is something for everybody. And that really has to be embedded. And we can support that with the right policies as well. And then secondly, it's things like network segmentation and securing the legacy infrastructure. So it's that mixture, technology, human factors, bringing those together. And I think the final one, it's all about collaboration. So we look at OT infrastructure, we have to see how we can work together. We have to share best practice. We have to collaborate, give ideas together and work together in the industry, not just when an incident occurs, but before so as well. And again, over an incremental period of time, we can start to build in difference so that when a threat does occur, and it will do. Again, as Christoph mentioned, this is not a case of if, it's when, but we can react more in a more streamlined way, in a more collective way, and we can negate the impact. So for me, those three Ps are absolutely vital, and collaboration all the way is key. We've got some organisations, for example, the ISA Global Security Alliance is a great one, something I'm involved in, and again, a great stage to bring expertise and diversity of experience and perspectives together to really make change happen.
Thank you so much, Sally. So end-to-end security across the ecosystem is really a key differentiator. So Gerard, on another hand, any companies have legacy systems installed from decades ago, far before cybersecurity was mainstream. So what are the challenges in securing installation, both from the greenfield and the brownfield, so the new and the existing?
Thank you, Caroline. I'm Gerard Vidal. I'm founder and chief scientific officer of Ending Media. What we do in Ending Media is we develop products, cybersecurity products for system integrators and their customers to help them to meet the requirements that they need. As Ending Media, we are also a certified technological partner in the Schneider Electric partner program. We also are available on Exchange. Also, we have implemented our Schneider Electric Alliance program, trained trusted system integrators as well. Going back to your question, cybersecurity means something different per different customers and different infrastructures. We need to understand which are the procedures and which are the architectures that we want to implement these solutions, these cybersecurity solutions. Most of the people is thinking on digital transformation, want to implement some IT solution, but when they want to go to the OT field, they don't know how to plug it, right? They need to think holistically, as Sally mentions, how to embed these new products in these OT infrastructures. What we have seen from our experience in the market is that different customers have very different needs and very different pain points. For instance, we have some experience with oil and gas and petrochemical customers, and what we have seen is that for them, it's really important to deploy cybersecurity solutions, but keeping the availability of the infrastructure. So in their case, the availability of the asset is the main business driver. On the other hand, if we go to water and wastewater, what we have seen is that, well, these customers, instead of oil, they have water in the pipes. So the margins are much lower, so they are looking for cost-efficient solution. And also they have the problem that they need this cost-efficient solution, but make it scalable and highly easy to deploy. So depending on the customers, we have different needs. And that's really important and has to be taken into account when you want to deploy these cybersecurity solutions.
Thank you so much, Gerard, for this very insightful use case. So, Christoph, with the rapid convergence of IT and OT, how have you seen this evolve, and what are some learnings that you have?
Sure, Caroline. So with digitization, IT and OT is converging at speed with specific attack surface in the OT space where, as we see, every device can be used as an entry point to perform an attack. So we know this, no mistake, OT is particular. And as explained by Gerard earlier, legacy devices have poor cyber practice and hygiene, and it can cause serious safety impacts. And hackers in that space are focusing in on unique weaknesses for a very specific target in OT. At Schneider, we realized 2 years ago during the time of WannaCry and NotPetya that we lacked visibility into our own operation, which was a real problem. So we decided to implement cybersecurity framework based on people, process, technology, aligning with NIST and IEC 62443 in order to secure our R&D, industrial operation, and customer-facing operation, and those frameworks resonate with the main risk as discussed before. So to illustrate this, to protect our business continuity in our factories and distribution centers, we have shaped a community of 200 plus cybersecurity site leaders close to the production lines in our industrial sites, and we protect our industrial asset with a next-gen antivirus solution, which segment the shop floor from the corporate IT network and implement monitoring capabilities for industrial networks so that cyber site leaders can help to identify vulnerabilities, perform the mitigation like patching, and organize incident response. To protect our customers and their operation on top of our cyber by design approach for products, so we enforce a cyber badge for our customer-facing people in contact with critical assets. This cyber badge consists in additional controls and training to ensure full compliance with our cyber and safety policies. So to conclude, as Sally said, our people are always our first line of defense. This is very true in IT, OT environment, and we insist on two major principles to keep in mind. First, cybersecurity is everyone's responsibility. And second, this is no longer safety first, but safety and cybersecurity first.
Thank you, Christophe. So this is very clear. It is about taking a triangulate approach, so securing people, processes, and technologies at the same time. So going back to you, Sally, scalability and sustainability is at the top of mind of every business today. So how do we implement a sustainable, secure model in our industry now?
I think that's an excellent question, Caroline. I also think particularly around sustainability, it's something, very close to my heart. I do a lot of work in this area, but quite often it's associated with one area only. So sustainability and environment or climate action, for example, that tends to get the majority of the focus. And obviously there is a massive issue there, and we all need to do a lot, and there's a collective responsibility to do more, but it also relates to cybersecurity too. I really wanted to draw attention to that. There's a great paper at the University of Illinois Law Review article, and it's called Sustainable Cybersecurity, Applying Lessons from the Green Movement to Manage Cyber Risk. I thoroughly recommend it. It's from 2016, and it really kind of brings to the fore the analogy of what we need to do in our environmental impact and reducing our sustainability debt there. And what we can do for cybersecurity too. And part of that is being good citizens, frankly, both as individuals and as organisations. We have to do more. There's a collective responsibility there to watch what we do, to share best practices. Some of what I was describing earlier, we have multiple threats through malware, through bot attack, through phishing. And we need to share when that is happening through those safe organisations, those safe spaces that I was mentioning earlier on. And if we do that, we can negate the cascade effect of when these incidents are happening. So part of it for me in terms of sustainability is that corporate citizenship and that global citizenship role about doing the right thing and doing that at scale. So I think the time is now. I do a lot of work with the UN, and we've got a clarion call really around the time is now movement, both from COP25 and ahead to Glasgow later on this year. And one of the new things that will come to the fore there is talking about cybersecurity and sustainability hand in hand. So again, it's about governance, it's about good practice, it's about scaling that, but it's also around monitoring. We have a massive opportunity here. I know Schneider Electric does a lot of good work in terms of monitoring and reducing that environmental debt. And again, around the cybersecurity aspect, you do a huge amount of work, and a couple of your systems in particular, I think, are really, really effective in that area. So for me, exactly two things: human factors, tech again. So it's around corporate and global citizenship, and it's around monitoring to reduce that sustainability debt.
Thank you, Sally. So, Gerard, I will get back to you now. So, you are the Chief Scientist Officer at Media, an industrial cybersecurity solution company. How do you see the current market approach by customers and IT/OT cybersecurity players? How do you solve these challenges differently regarding ICSS OT cybersecurity?
So what we have seen is that the current IT cybersecurity companies are trying to push their IT solutions in the OT field. So basically, they are looking for a new market. That's what they are doing, right? So, but when they want to implement their IT solutions that has been designed for the IT environment in the infrastructures, it appears a gap between the OT needs and the solution fitment. And on the other hand, what we have seen is that in the OT cybersecurity companies, most of them are focused on the monitorization of the activities, less than prevention. The resulting gap is that the customers have to decide between stop the production or not. So they can know if they are under an attack, but they cannot prevent those attacks. Our focus is in prevention. What we are trying to do is to avoid potential malicious attacks, but also human heroes. As Sally mentioned, most of the problems it may be in a factory for a small company is how the USB works. So we are solving these problems, focusing on prevention and taking as a very first rule for in the design of our solutions, the deployment. We need to help system integrators to make a solution easy to deploy, but also it must be easy to escalate for the final customers. So that's basically what we are doing. Just to give you a data, compared with other industrial automation competitors, architectures, we can deploy our solution in hours instead of days. So that's basically our advantage. That's our main competitor advantage.
Thank you, Gerard. So it's obvious that everyone, such as cybersecurity technology partners, system integrators, OEMs, and even end customers, all require a lot of collaboration. So, Christophe, we launched our IoT business platform and digital ecosystem Schneider Electric Exchange in 2019. So can you share with us the value businesses are realizing today for cybersecurity?
Sure. So as we are inventing a new electric world together, so more decarbonized, more decentralized, more digital, more efficient, so it requires an extended, open, and digital ecosystem to succeed. So we need collaboration also to fight cyber threats, as we cannot do it alone. So this is why, as Ali said, so we are a founding member of ISA Global Cybersecurity Alliance and have joined Paris Call and recently Cyber Tech Accord. And at Schneider, we support the digital transformation of our customers, partners, and the ecosystem with our IoT-enabled architecture, EcoStructure, and with our open collaboration platform, SC Exchange. So Schneider Exchange is a digital ecosystem and business platform bringing together 50,000 plus experts, innovators from across industry. Let me share with you our common ambition at the end of the day. So it's a place where the demand meets the offer in the quest of helping our customer understand, minimize risk and threat to their operation and assets when it comes to cybersecurity. Of course, the demand can be a unique problem and we offer a unique solution or a very rare expertise. So for instance, the Cloud platform to monitor industrial network, the Tripwire ICS security suite, and Schneider Electric EcoStructure offer, just to name a few cybersecurity offers. The platform enables you to meet people that propose the solution or expertise that is best for you. So for cybersecurity, we must keep in mind that, of course, every customer, every operation, and every site is different, and therefore there is no one-size-fits-all proposition. The platform fosters collaboration with and between stakeholders around the world through open communities, open knowledge base and technical resources, so such API, SDK, dataset, regardless of competing interests, so they can work together to secure the digital economy. Today, there are 300 plus offers published on Exchange, 50% of them are non-Schneider Electric offers. So 7% of them are cybersecurity offers, and it keeps growing. So my RICO and my call to action for today to all is join Schneider Electric Exchange. It's an open platform. Everybody can join today. So go, share, collaborate to build a better and a more secure electric world altogether. So thanks a lot for that.
Thank you, Christophe. This is a very exciting opportunity for our industry today. I will move back to you, Sally. So you are a community activist. You are part of the UN, Forbes Tech and Aspirational Future. You are driving collective thinking, defining the trends of tomorrow, and supporting industry to transition to the end-to-end IoT business model. So why is being an active community member a key success factor to grow a business?
Well, firstly, I love the description Christophe gave there of the exchange. I love that. And for me, what came to the fore there was many to many voices. It's not prescriptive, it's a coming together, and it's all about diversity of experience. And that's something incredibly close to my heart. I think that really, really matters. There are always pinch points for people and organizations, things, for example, about how we move from conceptualization to action. And also, if we've got local innovation, how do we make that more global? It's all about this coming together. And again, a point I mentioned earlier, I think with times as they are at the moment, this digital safe space to share, to grow, I just don't think that could be any more valuable than the position we're in at the moment. So again, I've been playing around with this myself, really, really impressed with the platform. And it echoes all the work that I do, which is very community orientated, you know, bringing together government, civil society, local bleeding edge startup business with big corporate business as well. And having that infusion, that cross-fertilization of ideas, that safe space, as I said, to share, to grow, to develop. And to really help bring sustainable scale. It really takes you through that life cycle process. So I'm very impressed with that. And, you know, going back to your very first question about end-to-end ecosystem, I think it's a very much supportive tool to help make that happen. I've recently contributed to a book called Developer Advocate, and it was very much really bringing to the fore how as an individual we can make a difference. And if we share our stories, we can really inspire others to get involved in things. And the same thing goes with experience, skills and knowledge as well. And we can help build that collective and that coming together. And again, going back to education and skills, cybersecurity, again, the heart of our topic today, has a big skills shortage. And it has it particularly when it comes to underrepresented groups, women in tech, but also more broadly than that as well. We've got a similar thing in AI, similar one in blockchain. And again, community, the very heart of that, can really help to change the narrative. Big proponent of that, you know, changing what a tech career looks like, changing what cybersecurity is about, getting people involved, getting people excited and passionate to come together and make things happen. So I think the exchange can do a big part of that. And Christophe mentioned there about kind of call to action. A similar one to me is to, you know, get involved, for example, with skills and education training, opening up access to opportunity, and reframing the narrative around skills from STEM to STEAM, so we can help, you know, stifle some of the drop-offs we see at the moment. From a UK perspective, for example, massive drop-off in girls taking these types of subjects at GCSE, A-level, and then at university, not actually applying them in future careers. So platforms like this, community sharing, that coming together collectively can make a massive difference. And I'm very much all about that. So yeah, I love what you're doing there, I really do.
Thank you, Sally. I love your commitment and excitement in that topic.
Thank you. I can't help this, but yeah. So I think building a contagion of change, I think, you know, and again, at these times at the moment, get people passionate, bring people together. I think that's what it's all about. I really do.
It is. And I will get back to Gerard to continue the discussion. So Gerard, your daily business leverages the collective value of a digital ecosystem. So how is Exchange growing your business, gaining credibility in reaching the global marketplace?
So for us, Exchange is a perfect win-win collaboration with the Schneider Electric technology partners like us and system integrators around EcoStruxure solutions, around the architectures that the Schneider has designed. For us, it's perfect because we have great visibility of our products. Today, we have 2 offers in Exchange, but we are planning to increase our offering in the marketplace. One of the offers is Mercury Cipher, which is our software embedded in a Schneider Electric industrial IoT box. It's a kind of Mageris gateway that we have a lead referral, and also we have Mercury Orchestrator. What that is the software that is working as a centralized management console for all the ciphers that you are deploying into the industrial network. Just to give you an example, our success story was with Bases Sistemas. It was an integrator in Spain. We don't know that this integrator exists. We have seen a post in a forum. They are asking for how to increase the security of a certain kind of communications in a petrochemical plant with a strict requirement of a latency below 2 milliseconds. So we just reply the post, and then offline we start to have a discussion to see if it fits with us. The system integrator thinks that it works, but he asked it, as he is an alliance partner, he asked it to some people in Schneider about if it works or not, or which is the fit in this specific architecture. We have a good feedback he received a good feedback from Schneider Electric architectures. So then we just deploy the solution, and the people is happy now. And we have another success history with water and wastewater. It's a well-known system integrator for water systems, which is called MSI Grupo. They have integrated, for instance, the largest wastewater plant in the world, which is the Mexico City wastewater plant. It's an Schneider Electric one, for instance. And they just recently just bought one of our orchestrators because they want to try it, right? So it's perfect for us. The procurement process was reduced in just a few clicks, instead to make all the paperwork, which is extremely hard for a company as us. We are a startup, right? We are not a Schneider Electric. So it takes time. We reduce this time, and we just leverage the product to the market. That is what we want. I would like to mention that even it is a great solution, we are also looking forward the new feature that it seems that will appear in Exchange, which is the GitHub resources and SDK resources. That's nice because some customers ask for new features, and with these resources, we can give them the value just picking up the solutions from third parties, right? It's nice.
Thank you so much, Gerard. I'm so happy to hear that you have had such a great successes, and thank you all for all of these great insight. I think we are ready to move to the Q&A, so let me see what we get for you. All right, so I think the first question is for Christophe. So it's from Rogelio. So what about cybersecurity awareness budgets? If it hasn't support from the CEO nor principal chair, all of it, it's a quite good speech.
Great question. And again, it's back to the people aspect of it. Every cyber initiative need to spend a significant amount of effort, time, and money on people for awareness, for communication, for operating model, etc. So on top of awareness, I would say every cyber initiative needs CEO, board of director attention on a continuous basis. And I can tell that this is what we are having at Schneider. But more than that, it has to be a mechanism in place in the company. For example, we have a yearly mandatory training for all employees. Second, with our IT OT initiative, we have specific training for specific population. For example, in our factories with the shop floor employees, in customer-facing organization with cyber badge. So here, it's a full awareness approach that we have with people, and it has to fit with your cyber strategy, with your priority. And it comes, of course, with reality check to make sure that the awareness that is done, the awareness effort that is done, is paying at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, we need to make sure that it's not just about awareness, it's about learning. And as a CISO, as cyber leader in the company, as manager of the company, need to make sure that the company is learning from everything that is happening, either externally, internally, from incident, from situation with customer. So we need to learn because we have a lot to learn in every area, especially in OT, especially in IT OT, and especially in digital.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Christophe. So the next one will be for Gerard. It comes from Anthony Bernard. So what is your experience as technology partner of Schneider, and what benefits has brought for your company?
So my experience is a very good experience because of we are a product company, and it's industrial cybersecurity is a really hard and competitive arena. And in OT, nobody wants to change their architecture. So being a partner with the Schneider Electric is great because it's easier to understand where you have to fit in the architecture of the customer. For me, this was, I was a really technical guy, and it's really nice to see that the people is trying different techniques to sell or different words. Being a partner of a Schneider Electric, you can understand the words, but you also can understand how people think inside their factories. So it's really easy then to say, okay, so what you need, it's this one, it's this value, and you call this product or this feature like this. And then the customer realizes what they need, right? So everything is more smooth. Of course, you need to have a good product that fit the problem. Otherwise, there's no chance to be there. Mm-hmm. But being a partner with the Schneider Electric is great because it's the approach to the customer is more seamless.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Gerard. And I want to clarify something to make it super clear as well, that Schneider Electric Exchange is an open ecosystem business platform, and you don't have to be a Schneider Electric business partner. You don't have to be a partner to get started on the platform. So I just wanted to make sure that it is super clear. The next one is back to Christophe again from Mustafa Hassan. So does Schneider have UL standards qualification for cybersecurity?
So on cyber certification, so it's always a case-by-case approach, but this is definitely a topic we want to address more globally, more systematically. And we are working here with specific company or specific technology also in the US in order to embrace a more systematic approach for Schneider product, but also with our supplier. So this is really something we are looking at very, very carefully, specifically with our third-party and supplier approach.
Thank you, Christophe. I'm looking at the next one here. So it's coming from Eric Lord. So it goes to Sally, I think. So Sally, do you have an example on how protecting OT infrastructure via collaboration?
I've got probably a very good one that's in the defense industry, actually, but that's the one what I would like to do on that particular one, if this is possible, is to connect me with that individual afterwards, because I've actually got a case study on that I think would be very valuable, but I need to share it off air. Would that be okay?
Sure. So Eric can send you a private message for sure if you want to go deeper. Do you want to share?
Interesting one, but I'd need to share some documentation. I think that would be really apt for his question.
You still want to share a little bit around the use case, or do you want to keep it for a private message post the session?
If I could do it for the group chat afterwards, that would be fantastic, because it needs some background documentation, which will take a little bit longer.
Okay. All right. So I'm looking at the next one that will go to Gerard. So Gerard, it's coming from Bryant. So what is your competitive advantage of Mercury over other competition offers?
So the main competitive advantage that we have, our uniqueness value proposition, is that we are able to encrypt communications with the latency below 2 milliseconds, independently on the protocol of the network, per any kind of hardware device that we are running. What does it mean? It means that we can really easily implement a solution in a field without disrupting the network. Typically, when you are trying to apply the IT techniques to the OT field, you have some problems in design. One of those problems, for instance, is how you make the secure connections. In the IT, the latency for internet, for instance, is over 100 milliseconds, and it's okay because it's designed by humans, right? So humans don't care about the latencies below 100 milliseconds. However, a machine has a strict latency requirements, right? So we are solving this technical problem, and then we have further benefits, and we leverage on this technical benefit to attain other features.
Mm-hmm. And then Gerard, to continue, I have a second question from Kate, who is asking if you already shared a concrete example on how you leverage Exchange platform to collaborate. Do you want to reinforce the message one more time? Do you have anything else?
So over the base systems, yes, we have. So for instance, for us, well, indeed, it has happened one really nice history in Exchange. So as you mentioned that we don't need to be technological partners to be in Exchange. That's true. Indeed, when we registered it to the Exchange, we weren't, right? We increased the visibility, and we have all of our potential customers also outside the Exchange check the Exchange website. I mean, even we have a website, they go to Exchange just to see that we are in Schneider Electric, so they feel more comfortable. And regarding to Exchange, we have a use case with MSI Grupo. This company is it's a strong company. It's a strong system integrator in the water segment, and they asked for our solution via Exchange. And the use case was to harden the network in a water system.
Thank you so much, Gerard. So, Sally, do you have anything that you want to add on the education around cybersecurity and how it should be?
No problem, Caroline. I think one of the things I would mention again, maybe as a call to action, just to let people aware that there's some really interesting and free to access cybersecurity training that they could take advantage of, and coming from different points as well. I mean, my background is a CTO, so sometimes I like to go quite specific into details of that, but there's some free to access, literally introduction to cybersecurity training that you can have a look at with case examples that are under NDA, for example, that really talk you through the process and go end to end. So if anybody wants more details of that, feel free to connect with me, and they'll also be listed on a new website, aspirationalfutures.com, within 7 days time. So there'll be a lot of free to access training there. We're actually developing a new platform and rolling out 5,000 hubs over the next 3 years, and part of that is 24/7 access to skills in cyber, AI, blockchain, 5G, that kind of thing, but also with holistic STEAM training as well. So really passionate about that and making it available to people. At the end of the day, breaking down barriers and democratizing access, I think, is absolutely vital. So just to kind of put that out there, that will be available and more accessible very, very soon.
Thank you so much, Sally. Christophe, do you want to add to that on how we are going to secure our people at Schneider? How do we ensure them to be secure?
So again, this is back to the first question on awareness, reality check, making sure that we are a learning organization. So again, back to basic principle, but cyber is just everyone's responsibility. So it's not a mandate of a central team and something is happening in a parallel universe. So everybody has to play its role, from any employee, any shop floor worker, any sales, front office, project guy, up to the top management. So here, of course, everyone has a different role to play, but raising the awareness, having detection reflex, like in safety, and this is a great opportunity we have in this environment. We have an incredible background in terms of safety, where we see something and we say something as a DNA. And from this DNA, really, we have a tremendous opportunity there to grow our own pool of talent, our own awareness, to combine this safety and cybersecurity DNA. So from a difficulty of combining different spaces from IT and OT, I see, and I would finish on a more positive note there, a good combination of these two DNA could bring a better and a lot of more attention on what could happen on cyber.
Thank you, Christophe. I have one last question for Gerard. So coming from Tom Hank, how do you secure a minimum of 1 millisecond latency with your solution, Gerard?
How do we say? Can you repeat?
Let me say it again. So how do you secure less than 1 millisecond latency with your solution? It's a $1 million question.
So the point is the following. So what we are doing is we are using a proprietary encryption system that it works for embedded systems, for embedded console, for embedded microprocessors. So as the system is lightweight, we can encrypt higher throughput with less resources. That's important because in industrial systems, it's really hard to do that with a non-ASIC, with a non-specific microprocessor. We can do that with an off-the-shelf electronics. So that's basically the trick. The trick is in the mathematics. So basically.
Thank you so much, Gerard. So I think we're done with Q&A. I'm just keeping an eye on any upcoming. All right, so I think that's it for today. So thank you all for a very energizing session. It's very clear that only together we can raise the bar on protecting industry at large and strengthening collective trust players in the digital economy as industrial players pursue the many benefits of the IIoT. So commitment and collaboration are the foundation of a strong industrial security posture for business critical infrastructure. So today, it is our invitation not only to register on Schneider Electric Exchange, but also to start interacting and collaborating to build your own success story. So that concludes today's session. Thank you for being with us. We are very happy to have the discussion going, and we will see you next month to speak about the factories of the future. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.